Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. My girlfriend is back from her thing. She went to a funeral and spent the weekend at a relative's house. And she's back from her long trip, and so she's taking a nap. She's tired. And so am I. I tried to, because she had to go at 11 in the morning, she wanted me to wake up then. And I was like, I'll just pull an all-nighter. Because if I go to sleep, I'm not waking up at 11. So I tried to pull an all-nighter, and I ended up falling asleep anyway and woke up an hour later. And I told her sorry, and I said, I'm probably going to fall right back to sleep. And she was like, it's okay. So I did. And then my mom woke me up, so I still did not get enough sleep. My mom woke me up to give me breakfast, or it's breakfast for me, but it's more like lunch or dinner for other people because I wake up in the afternoon. But regardless, I didn't get enough sleep, but oh well. So my girlfriend's taking a nap, and the weather's nice, so I figured I'd walk. And I thought, since I'm not currently talking to her, I have time to record a video. I was listening to some music by First Jason, the band, by the guy who played Jason in part 1. And I just got thinking in my head, I've been thinking for the past few days, and I just really got in my thoughts while I was listening to it, should Friday the 13th have lore? So that's what this video is. That's what I'm recording about. I'm trying to figure out. I'm not trying to figure out. I'm trying to, debate with whoever. Myself, I guess. Unless you guys want to debate me in the comments, get some engagement. I record videos and I have a decent number of subscribers, but I don't usually get a lot of comments. I've been getting comments on my shorts recently, which are just re-uploads that I find on Reddit. But that's neither here nor there. So I'm going to debate. So, a lot of people don't want Friday the 13th to have deeper lore. So when Sweet Revenge added Eve coming back with undead powers from the lake like Jason, some people were like, no, we don't want to see that. We just want to see Jason. And another argument I've heard is Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, had a different ending that the novelization had. They included the scrapped ending, so they diverged from the movie. The original ending was supposed to show Elias Voorhees at the grave, realizing his son's not in there. And then Jason rises up out of the lake. But the studio scrapped that, worrying that having a deeper plot that you would need to see the other movies to understand would deter people away. Because not everyone wants to just go out of their way to watch the other movies first. So they didn't. So they scrapped that, and then the rest of the movies after that are just standalone stories. And some people say that is what killed the franchise because the formula got tired the more they did it, etc. So would the franchise have survived if they didn't scrap the ending of 6 and actually had deeper lore? Or were they right, and would the fans not want it? Because I've talked to people on Reddit who've said they don't want that. So which is it? Should the franchise stick with its lack of deep lore, or should it dive deeper? Which should it do? Is it just always going to be, no matter what you do, someone's going to be unsatisfied, so it doesn't matter which one? If they did go with that ending in Part 6, and some fans who liked the previous movies where it was just Jason kills people, they were going to be unsatisfied, but the deeper lore would entice people who like deep lore, like myself, into the series and, actually get them locked in. And would it have kept the series going longer? Would it? Or would it have, the studio worried, drove people away? Because, especially back in the 80s, today with streaming and the internet, anyone could just, watch all the movies they want. It's got to find them somewhere. But back then in the 80s, you have to go out of your way to find them all on VHS. And sometimes you get unlucky and a store might not have them all, and you have to drive around, and it's a lot. It was a lot back then. So maybe it was just different back then. Maybe could a Friday the 13th with deeper lore work today? It was just too early. That's the question. Excuse me, allergies, stuffed up nose. Yeah. God, I think it's allergies. It can't be a cold because winter's over. And then again, it could still be a cold. I beat my pneumonia. Thank goodness. My throat feels fine. It's just my nose that's being a bastard. Anyway, God, the wind. Maybe I shouldn't have recorded this while on a walk. Oh well. Choices were made. Got to deal with them. Just like the choice to scrap the ending of part 6 to keep it from having too much of deep lore. Friday the 13th Part 9 tried to actually have a story. You know, Jason Goes to Hell to Final Friday. This is the worst one in the whole series, hands down, my opinion. Some people say Jason X, but Jason X is a so bad it's good movie. Stop being a hater. It's an enjoyably stupid, fun watch. Come on. Then again, that's my opinion. You're allowed to have yours. But Jason Goes to Hell, it's a good movie, but it's not a good Friday the 13th movie. It's not a good Jason movie. If it was just some other supernatural force that wasn't Jason, like if it was its own original movie, people probably might have liked it better. But since they tried to make it Jason and say everything we knew from the first 8 movies is wrong, Jason was never a boy, just a normal boy who drowned. He was always some kind of supernatural demon thing. No. Fuck you, no. No, we don't accept that. Many people don't. Some people do, but many people don't. But point is, that movie actually tried to have a story, tried to have an actual plot and actual lore, and it fucking failed. It sucked. Everyone hated it because they ruined Jason. So does that mean those fans are right and Friday the 13th should not have deep lore? I don't think so. I think it's just the way they did it in Part 9 that fucked it up. Because like I said, they ruined Jason. They tried to say he was this, and people didn't accept it. He's not a body-jumping demon worm thing. He's a boy who drowned and came back with supernatural powers. How? It's up to interpretation. I could be down with the idea of the Pamela using the Necronomicon to resurrect him with some kind of ritual. Or Elias, like some of the fan films did. I'm down for that. But saying he was always some kind of demon is like, no. No, I like the idea of Jason possessing people when someone puts on his mask. Better than, oh, it's just a worm. The body that we see him in is just a suit. That's not the real him. It's just someone he's piloting. No, I don't like that. No one likes that. Why did they think that was a good idea? It's because Sean Cunningham, who, like, he made the first movie, and then the rest of the movies with Jason were studio ordered, and he didn't like the idea they brought Jason back. Let alone the fact that the hockey mask became the face of the franchise when it wasn't there at the beginning. So he was just biased and didn't like it. I think he's okay with it now. It's kind of come to accept it. With the whole Jason universe, it seems like he's fully leaning into the Jason that he didn't like back then. Probably just to get money, because that's the whole point of the Jason universe. It's just for merch and freaking branding, marketing deals. Sweet Revenge is just a commercial, but that's not. I'm not going to get into a rant about that. Now, one recent movie I seen, fan film, Friday the 13th Blood Loss. It apparently came out in like March of 2025 before Sweet Revenge did. but it was on it's like Never Hike Alone. It was actually released on a DVD, a physical media. I think it was DVD, VHS, and Blu-ray, if I recall. But unlike Never Hike Alone, it wasn't released on the internet for free at the same time. It was only recently finally uploaded on the internet. So I got mixed up on when it came out. Luckily, I found out by doing some research. The release date's irrelevant. I just want to bring that up because that was confusing. So this movie has the first Jason, the guy who played him in the first one, who started a band. In this movie, I thought he was playing Jason, which would have been cool, but no, he was just the bartender guy whose brother was killed by Jason. But regardless, he's in there. Anyway, this movie, once again, tries to actually have lore, and I appreciate the attempt, but this movie is, man. Friday the 13th Blood Loss. I want to like it, but damn, it's slow. And the acting is... I know the acting in the official movies isn't perfect. I mean, look at Rick from Part 3. When they first come back and they get into the kitchen. His acting is not the best, but this is just... Man, this is... Exposition dumps here and there. And the delivery is... Oh my god. Let me tell you, spoiler alert. I think I mentioned this in the last video I recorded. I did. I'm going to do it again because, oh my god, this is so bad. So this detective, the whole plot of the movie is about a detective trying to solve a mystery about a drowned boy. And the movie has this villain who I don't remember the name of, who's experimenting with the lake, so he drowned that boy on purpose to try to recreate what happened to Jason, and it worked. He also somehow brought Pamela back. I don't remember how, because the movie so slow and dull that I kind of zoned off in parts of it, and I need to watch it again and pay closer attention, but damn, the movie is just... This movie, this fan film, is a good argument right here for people who say Friday the 13th should not have an actual plot in the movie. It should just be Jason killing people. This is a good argument for that right here, because this movie... But let me get to the worst part. So the detective, the dad of the drowned boy, who knew more than he was saying earlier in the movie, finally confesses to the detective that there's more going on. He said, I left you a USB file on your desk with all the information to lead you to the bad guy. Better get it before someone else does. Then he turns around, bang, shoots himself in the head. And the detective, I don't remember the detective's name, he's like, no, and then he just gets back in the car. Not only was that delivery bad, but then not even a pause. You just saw someone shoot themselves in the head, and you're not even gonna try to process what you just seen. Just immediately get back in your car and go to the... What? Oh my god. But yeah, this movie has Jason and his mom together killing side by side, which should be an awesome concept. But it's so underutilized. So I like the ideas of how what they were trying to do in here, but it's just not executed very well. So, would it have been executed better if this was an official film and not a fan film? Maybe. But I don't know. The comics try to have some deeper lore. Trying to say the Curse of Crystal Lake was Native American, Indigenous American, Indian, whatever you want to call them. Some of them don't like that, and some would prefer you call them Indian, so it is what it is. I'm just going to say Native American, so... Well, according to the lore in some of the comics, the Crystal Lake's death curse comes from Native Americans after they were wronged by, obviously, the white man. They cursed the lake. And that's why bad stuff keeps happening. In the comic Badlands, there was killers before Jason. There was a native killer who got his face shot with a shotgun or whatever kind of gun they had back then. And now he's just an undead native getting revenge with a messed up face. I don't think they ever give him a name, so we just call him the native. The undead native. That's some deep lore. That's more going on with the lake. And the Friday the 13th TV show, which has nothing to do with Jason, which pissed off a lot of people, has more lore about the world of itself and other supernatural things going on in it besides Jason and the lake. And some people like that show. I need to watch it. I've heard people say it's actually a good show. Kind of got bad towards the end, then it got canceled. So, but the parts that are good are really good, apparently. So I need to look into it. But again, all the hate for that show just simply comes from the fact that Jason's not in it. Same with the hate for Part 5, which, after I grew up and matured, I actually like Part 5 because it's actually a, pretty good Friday the 13th movie. Some would say it's actually the most Friday the 13th Friday the 13th movie. It's just one problem, there's no Jason. It's got the most tits, probably got the most sex. It's got some of the most creative kills, but it's not Jason, so a lot of people just tossed it out. Recently, I've finally come to the exception that Part 9, despite being a terrible Jason movie, like Part 5, is actually a good movie. It just gets hated because it's not like Jason. But I still will shit on Part 9, because at least Part 5, even though it wasn't Jason, didn't do anything to mess with Jason. Like, it didn't try to say, oh, he was this. Imagine there's a Friday the 13th movie that says, oh, Jason's actually an alien. That would piss a lot of people off. Basically what Part 9 did, they say, oh, he's not a supernaturally enhanced human, he's just a demon. And some of the comics try to roll with that too and say Jason was like bad. Pamela's Tale, terrible comic. Let me explain. So Pamela's Tale is like a semi-prequel to Part 1, but actually parts of it recreate Part 1. Like we see, like in the movie, when she picks up Annie, we don't hear her talk. But in this comic, she actually talks to Annie and kind of tells her the backstory. Until she kills Annie, but then she keeps telling the backstory to the corpse. Crazy. But in this weird take of the Jason's origin, apparently he was talking to her while in the womb and told her to kill her husband because he was mean and abusive. And after he was born, got my hand in the frame there. After he was born, he started killing animals, which is like, what? Jason's only supposed to become a killer after he sees his mom die. This ain't right. No, I don't accept this. These comics are not canon to the films, and most people prefer it that way. Apparently Jason's drowning wasn't from him, swimming of his own accord and then, or trying to swim and then he drowns, or bullies pushing him in like we see in Freddy vs. Jason. No, he apparently saw the two counselors starting to have sex. For some reason, doesn't like it and starts attacking them, and obviously they fight back. And then he runs off and then jumps into the lake and drowns himself? What? And then the counselors don't do anything to try to save him. They just let him drown. Are they just stupid, or are they letting him drown because he stopped them from having sex and they're spiteful? Ooh, money. Free money. I don't know. The comic sucks. It does not portray Jason correctly as a character. So, not canon. Toss it aside. Irrelevant. No one cares. So that's another point to the side of Jason should not have lore, because every time they do, they kind of fuck it up a little bit. Not every time though. I feel like what they were doing with Part 4, 5, and 6 with Tommy constantly being a reoccurring character, that they were doing something with that. That was good. If they went with the Part 6 ending they were originally going to go with, we probably could have gotten Tommy more. But They scrapped it. So that saga is over. How do I feel about Sweet Revenge? Trying to add, deeper lore into the actual story. Like I said, I've seen some people's opinions saying they don't want that. They just want Jason. They don't want to see the follow-up of Eve. They don't want to see Eve try to become Jason's apprentice, like Halloween Ends with Corey Cunningham. No one wants that. But like I said, I'm a lore guy. I like lore. So I'm kind of in favor of it. Like, I still want Jason to be a huge part of it. I don't want him to be sidelined. But I would like to, like, maybe Eve could get her spin-off movie or a spin-off comic or show or something. There's this new Friday the 13th show called Crystal Lake, prequel show coming out. And that's all about Jason's mom. So that's definitely going to have more lore. Because it's a TV show. It's not just a movie that's a one and done. For a show to keep going, there's got to be some kind of story. So there's going to be some kind of lore in that show. And I hope the show does well, and I hope it's not hated. I hope the show is good. Because I feel like if lore is added in and added in correctly, maybe all the lore haters wouldn't be so opposed to Jason having lore. I think they just don't like what happened with Part 9 and what happened with the comics. I think Jason with lore can work. It's just very hard to do. That's my personal opinion. Because some of the fan films that try to have lore do pretty decently. Like the Vengeance movies, which basically ignores, anything after Part 6 and it incorporates Jason's dad, Elias, into it. And they add this lore about the Jarvis bloodline and the Voorhees bloodline being intertwined, always, bound by this curse that they're always going to be at odds with each other. I like that. And it's still a Jason movie, first and foremost. It's got Jason running around killing people front and center. It's not, set to the sideline because of the lore. This, I like, they did Jason with lore correctly here. So it is possible. Same thing with Never Hike Alone. All those people that don't want deeper lore with, their Jason, and they just want Jason killing people left and right, and they want tits in their movies. Some people have said they like that Never Hike Alone doesn't follow the Friday formula. They don't need tits in their movie. And I'm like, all right, fair enough. I don't know how these people that don't like lore feel about the Never Hike Alone movies. Maybe that's the one exception. I have not heard anything negative about the Never Hike Alone short films. And, the one longer film, Never Hike Alone 2. Oh, speaking of the Never Hike Alone movies, I might make a separate video about this, but what the hell happened to the original Ghost Cut? I mean, I kind of know what happened. They added Never Hike Alone 2 in there and thought the first one is unnecessary. Why would you watch that when you can watch the one with all of them in it? But I like to have the option, damn it. That's neither here nor there. So yeah, that's my stance on Friday the 13th and Jason having lore. I think it can work, it just needs to be done right. And I want to see that. Because maybe, just maybe, if they start making Friday the 13th movies with actual lore in it today, present day, when lore is popular, maybe the series won't, be dead forever. Because that's the reason why the series died originally, because the formula got tired and people were tired of seeing it. They needed more substance. I want the 13th movie to maybe do something similar to the Vengeance. Vengeance still has problems. I don't want them to just make Vengeance. But the fact that there's lore in Vengeance, but it's not that big a deal, it doesn't take away from Jason just doing his thing. I want to see the 13th movie do that. And then as the series goes on from here, maybe we can have more lore-heavy movies. But still occasionally have the less lore-heavy movies. A good mix for the two types of fans who want more or less lore. I want the 13th movie to satisfy both parties and lay down the groundwork to open people up to the idea of lore in their Friday the 13th. I like the idea that the lake has powers. That makes sense. Even before, Sweet Revenge did that, I already was going to do that for my, project I'm working on. I was going to make my own iteration of the Friday the 13th universe. And that lake was going to be powered by magic crystals at the bottom, buried beneath the water. So I was already going to add lore. So yeah, if anyone wants to debate me or whatever, let me know. Maybe I'll post this video on Reddit. Maybe, I don't know. I usually keep all my social media platforms separate from each other. But maybe I'll post this one. I don't know if anyone's going to want to watch it because it's got no editing. The wind may be a problem at sometimes. And it's no editing, it's just me talking. There's no pictures on the screen because I know how to edit. But maybe someone would be down to watch this. We'll see. I think I'll stop it at 30 minutes. That'd be a good stopping point. Put on the mask, take on the task. Put on the mask, take on the task. Put on the mask, take on the task. Jason kill for murder. I like that they had his music in that fan film because he was in it. That's awesome. When the clock strikes 13, I need to listen to all of his music. What can I say for the last 2 minutes? Okay, I know what I'm going to say. Kane Hodder should come back as Jason one more time in the 13th movie. I know he's getting up there in his age at this point, but damn, he's still in pretty good shape for his age. He's still a strong-looking dude. I don't know if he can still do his own stunts. He might be, and that'd be awesome if he can. You need him to play Jason one more time. That would be the cherry on top for the 13th movie. Cherry on top. Did I already make a video on what a perfect 13th movie needs? I think I may have. If not, I'll make one. The 13th movie needs to be perfect. Because for this franchise, 13 is a very important number, so they gotta nail it. They got to. Hopefully with all these legal issues taken care of, for the most part, we can get that done. Like I said, I want the 13th movie to have a little bit of lore. Not too much, but just like a sprinkle, a dash, a hint of lore to set up for like a sequel that they can expand on there. That would be great. Anyway, I guess that does it for this video. If anyone actually wants to comment on this, let me know what y'all think about lore in Friday the 13th. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.